This is the Microsoft Surface Precision Mouse. It costs 99 bucks, but is it worth it? Today I'll tell you in my review. Stay tuned. So here it is, the Microsoft Surface Precision Mouse. As you can see, it's a very familiar design. If you've ever seen, dare I say, the Logitech MX2S, which is one of the most popular productivity mice on the market. I did review this a few months ago. It's actually one of my favorite out there. Logitech has a very long history making excellent devices for PCs and Macs, and as the case there. Very much a similar design. You're going to get a very ergonomic rounded back here along with this thumb rest, which I'm a huge fan of. This prevents obviously your thumb from dragging on the mat when you're using it. Coming around to the sides here, let's go over the buttons. So of course you get a forward button, a back button, and a middle click button. All of these are programmable through software and using Windows 10. You can do that by default using the Windows 10 operating system, but there's also the Microsoft Keyboard and Mouse Center, which gives you way more options. We'll talk about that in a few minutes though. So they are made out of aluminum. They feel really good, easy to discern, and I really don't have any complaints about them. Just really solid buttons. I really like that back one. The middle one is actually neat because it's by default set to task view. So when you click it, it's going to show you all your open and running apps, letting you switch between them with ease. Obviously you want that with the mouse. Very cool stuff. Coming to the top here, you do have the scroll wheel, which is made from aluminum. It is excellent. It is a clicky type, but that's okay because if you hit this button here, it's going to release it, and now this does free scroll. So like Logitech, they give you that option. Some people prefer one way or the other, or to switch between applications, and you can do that here with just hitting that button. Again, no complaints. Very nice scroll wheel. It's not too big, it's not too prominent, just good design. You also have two buttons that click. You can hear that clicking there. You know, Microsoft did a really good design here. Microsoft has a very long history in mice. They've been doing it for almost 30 years now, so this is really nothing new for them, except that the Surface team has now taken over mouse development, and they do a really good job. Let's talk a little bit about connectivity. Now, this is Bluetooth, so you can run into occasional glitches depending on your setup and how good your Bluetooth actually is. Now, when it comes to the Surface Book 2 and Surface Pro, I really haven't had any issues, which is surprising because of that Marvel wireless chip on board. With my XPS 27, I did occasionally have a stutter. That is, I would go use the mouse after a few minutes. It was almost like it was asleep, and then it would come back to life. Not a huge deal. I think that has to do with the Bluetooth low energy, and it doesn't always happen. In fact, it hasn't happened in the last few days. This is, of course, the problem with wireless technology. Now, if you do have constant problems, I do recommend just plugging it in and using it as a wired connection, which is a pretty solid option for this mouse. But still, your Bluetooth experience may vary. There is no 2.4 gigahertz dongle, unlike the Logitech mouse and some other ones like Razer, giving you that more definitive connection. So you'll just have to rely on Bluetooth, and fingers crossed it works. Now, like all high-end mice, this one has its own software as well. Now, you don't need this to run, and that's why you can also run this on a Mac, but you're going to get fewer functions that way. With this software, the Microsoft Mouse and Keyboard Center, which I should point out does not run on Windows 10S, which has been unfortunate, so you're going to be limited with that device. But on anything else, you can install it, and you get a ton of options, which of course is what people want. This is a very professional level mouse, meaning there's a lot of customizability here. So you can adjust the wheel button, you can assign different tasks, and you can also adjust the DPI settings. Speaking of, you're talking about between 400 and 3200 for dots per inch, which is not bad, but that is a little bit different than the Logitech MX2S mouse, which is 200 to 4000. There is also app-specific settings, and this will choose apps that you've already opened before, and it'll show up in the menu, and if not, you can use Windows Explorer and manually add a program there. This is some really high-level stuff. I don't even really use these features, but for people who are using specific apps that they want to have specific buttons assigned to do things like macros or key combinations, well, this is a solid option for you. Speaking of battery, you do get a battery percentage here, which shows you it's fully charged. And this does recharge by micro USB. The battery is not user replaceable, and it should go about 3 months on a single charge. Seeing as this mouse just came out, I haven't been able to test that, but it should last a long time. Finally, one of the coolest features is Smart Switch. So this is the ability to run this mouse on 3 PCs at the same time. So as you can see here, I have my Office PC, my Surface Book 2, and Surface Pro all connected up and paired. And what's really neat is you can toggle those on and off. So if you don't want 3 PCs, but you want to use it on 3 PCs, you can toggle that switch and it won't jump between those. You can also toggle a whole feature on or off, and you can arrange the PCs based on the orientation here. So if you want one in the middle, you can do that. So as you scroll across, it'll adjust accordingly. There are also options for the sensitivity. That is, when you get to the edge, how fast it detects before it switches over. It's not one of those things you're going to accidentally do. You really kind of have to force it over the cursor to the edge of the screen before it jumps. So I really wouldn't worry about that, and it never interfered with my productivity when using it. There's also a notification you can turn on and off. So when it jumps to a new computer, a little notification will pop up just to let you know it is active. Okay, let's compare quickly the Microsoft Surface Precision Mouse to the Logitech MX2S, which is the latest version. So these are both $99. This one is slightly more sensitive, but we're really talking a minuscule difference. Neither are really gaming class mice, so you're not going to want to use one of these if you use it for first-person shooters, but both are very good for professional use. And they do both have click or scroll wheels, the smooth scrolling option. They both have forward and back buttons, and they're both very ergonomically designed. Honestly, there's not a huge difference between these two. They both feel very comfortable. The MX2S has a higher arch to it, so it's maybe more comfortable for some, whereas the Surface is a little bit more low profile, which is actually also good for packing. Battery life is going to be a little bit better, I think, at least in theory, with the Precision mouse over the MX2S. In terms of weight, you're talking 135 grams for the Surface mouse versus 145 grams for the Logitech. That doesn't really make a huge difference, of course, but it is a subtle difference. Okay, let's wrap this up. So the Microsoft Surface Precision Mouse, I think, is a solid buy. Now it's $99, so there's no real value savings compared to the Logitech MX2S. And a lot of those differences between these two are going to come down to personal preference. And in that regard, you may want to try both out if you have the option. They're both very comfortable. I found the MX2S actually has a little bit less drag coefficient. So when I'm using it on a hard surface, it just feels smoother. On the other hand, its scroll wheel clicks and it's very loud. And I can say with the Microsoft Surface Precision, it's very quiet. So if that's important to you, the Microsoft option may be better. In terms of programmability and precision, Microsoft did a really nice job here. I really like all the options. In fact, I'll probably never use a lot of them, but I know a lot of people in professional markets will leverage those, so it's a good option to have. Now, if you're looking for a travel mouse, this one falls in the middle. It's obviously not going to be the smallest out there, but it's also not too large either. So you can slip it into a bag, and it's a little bit more low profile than the MX2S mouse, which is important to note. But if you're really looking for something for travel, you want to check out the Surface Arc mouse, which of course lays completely flat. Now, if you're looking for something to help you with productivity and you use multiple computers, I can give a solid recommendation for the Microsoft Surface Precision Mouse. So there's a quick look at the new Microsoft Precision Surface Mouse. If you want more information about this, you can head to Windows Central to read my full review. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. A little bit about that Bluetooth and connectivity. I did have an occasional glitch on my XPS 27. That is, sometimes I would go use the mouse. By the way, am I actually looking? Is it all right where my eyes are? Because I'm looking at the Sony label.
Yeah, it looks fine.
It's everything. Okay.